Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. And it's Friday, but we're doing a vlog because I'm going to be taking the weekend off to spend some time with some loved ones. I got some birthdays to celebrate, and also just kind of recouping, regathering my thoughts before we move on to the new week, which of course is the launch of The Division and the onslaught of content I will be creating for that. But the cool thing is, right, outside of all of the sort of normal coverage-based content of, you know, games like Rainbow Six and The Division, where I'm doing videos specifically designed around that game, I'm still going to be doing a lot of the stuff that I like to call passion videos. A lot of the videos that you guys saw this week, right, because we're kind of in that lull for me. I didn't want to start covering something new. I wanted to get ready for The Division, you know, keep working on what I was playing, and I wanted to work on a lot of videos that I've been sitting on for a very long time. These are usually videos that are, you know, lengthy discussion pieces. They're not just short and brief, and I love these sorts of videos. And what I really like to see is when I do a video like the Battlefield one, right, when I talked about the news that we received that Battlefield 5 could potentially be set in World War I. Now, I could have just done that as a really dull, boring news coverage piece. You know, just cover it and call it a day. But you guys know that's not really me. I didn't do that with No Man's Sky either. I'd like to have detailed discussions because there's always discussion to be had. So why not have said discussion? So it was super satisfying for me, number one, to see that Battlefield video do so very well. It was just awesome, the reception of it, all of the discussion and the conversation that went on, and it made me super, super happy. But on top of that, to see a lot of other people's videos, and I'm not knocking anyone else who, you know, made a normal coverage style video talking about that news, but to see a lot of really big names just doing like a 5-6 minute video just briefly talking about it. Like, it's always satisfying when I can sit here and be like, all right, dude, no offense, but you just kind of covered that, and that was that. Like, don't you have anything more to say about it? Isn't there something special you can do with this discussion topic? And I felt like I did that. I felt like I was able to take just a tiny piece of news, a tiny rumor, and turn it into a really awesome discussion that looked a little bit deeper, a little bit further beyond just what the game could be, and why the history and everything behind it could make it a more special experience. And you guys totally dug that, and I love that, because I used to do videos like that. I've always done videos like that, right? But there was a very long period of time, actually up until this point, where videos like that would do so poorly. I mean, they'd get like 100 views, no one would watch them, not even a lot of the, you know, regulars would see them. And I don't know, it's like, I guess maybe I've just gotten better at them, or like you guys have just really taken an interest in them. Either way, it's awesome, because I was also able, like I said, to do the No Man's Sky video. We did a lot of detailed discussion on the price point, but more specifically, the Brothers in Arms video. It was so cool to be able to finally make that video. 2 years I've been trying to put that video together, trying to get my thoughts straight, and then just throw it out and drop it, and just it was perfect. You know, it actually took me about 8 different takes. Because I never edit together. Like, if I mess up, I usually start all over again. That's just how I am. Like, I don't care if it's a 30-minute recording, I start from the beginning. I'm terrible that way. So I did like 5 or 6 takes, and then like the 7th one was finally, boom, this is it. Got all the points in, you know, said it the way I wanted to do it, made sure I carried my, you know, the opinion, and everything just felt really fluid and nice. And it was just awesome, again, to see the feedback and the involvement from you guys. The number of people who dug that franchise as much as I did, and who, you know, see that sort of gameplay for first-person shooters has definitely dwindled and died out. So those are, you know, the videos that I really, really enjoy making. I mean, I always enjoy covering games, but it's that, you know, detailed discussion that asks you guys to not just instantly be entertained, but to stop, use your brain a little bit, form your own opinion, and then get some discussion flowing, whether it's with me or with people, you know, in your daily life. I think that's what I like knowing, is when someone comes and tells me that a video I made, a discussion piece I made, influenced them to have that same discussion in another format or another area with friends or other gamers in their life. That's the kind of stuff I really aim for. Like, that's the stuff that's really special to me. That's where my true passion is at when it comes to YouTube. So to see those videos doing better and better every single day is fantastic. It's awesome. And I've always got handfuls of those in my brain just ready to be created and mixed about. So there's no doubt that those videos will continue to happen and continue to be created. So thank you guys once again. Let's move forward and talk a little bit more about Squad. So I've actually put in about 7 or 8 hours of Squad now. I've had the opportunity to play with some of the dudes from Praxis, which has been fun. Just a real small squad. Not to mention there's always randoms ready and willing to communicate. I have to say, VoIP is one of the best things ever. I've actually been meaning to do a video discussing solely VoIP and why I think it's so amazing. You know, proximity chat in games and why it can completely change the atmosphere of a game. Yeah, the Division is actually doing it in the Dark Zone specifically. And of course, Squad offers that, and that's definitely where some ridiculously hilarious situations occur. But let's talk about Squad itself, right? I want to first point out the continued positives that I see in Squad. I mean, number one, you know, it's just, you know, it is. It's like the growth, the expansion that I feel those devs wanted Project Reality always to be in. You know, without the restrictions of building it upon an old engine. You know, they're now out and about and Unreal Engine 4 doing what they want. You've got ridiculously large maps. They're working on even larger maps. I guess starting to push towards, like, I think they said 5 square kilometers for the next one, or even bigger than that. So the scale and the atmosphere, you know, it's definitely still there. Like, it was there the first day I played Squad. It's still there. And it's where I get the most enjoyment out of Squad. It's, you know, teaming up with friends or randoms, that communication. You know, we can go a 30-minute session and I don't even get the opportunity to shoot someone or kill someone. But if the coordination's there, the communication's there, we're moving towards our objective, it's just still a stupid amount of fun. Like, it's that basic interaction, to me, that is, like, at the core of the Squad experience, is what makes it enjoyable. You know, the actual shooting of people is kind of second, which is, you know, that's complete role reversal. Normally, in a first-person shooter, shooting people is the, you know, the main point of satisfaction, of gratification, of reward. And it's totally second on the list in Squad, which is why you saw this gameplay footage, this entire discussion. I've died again and again and again, but I've still just been having a wicked good time. There's no doubt there's room for improvement. I think the overall clarity of the game when trying to view enemies or look at things in a distance is very rough right now. I think they need to work on that. I think a lot of it has to do with how taxing the game is on one system. There's no doubt about that. It's a very intensive game. And I don't really think at this point it's a lot to do with optimization. I think at this point it's purely just, this is a big game. It's like Arma. There's no doubt that there's probably some optimization that can be done, but at the end of the day, you're definitely not considering how big these environments actually are if you feel that you should be able to run a game like Arma at 300 frames per second, you know, on your rig or whatever. Like, it's going to take some serious hardware to really push high settings 60 FPS. Fortunately, on mixed, medium, high, some low stuff, you know, I can get 50 to 60 with my rig. I'm definitely looking to upgrade my GPU so very soon, but I still think work can be done in terms of that clarity that I talked about. There's no doubt that at a distance it should be difficult to see an enemy. I know that's kind of the thing they're going for, but I think right now sometimes it just feels too random when you're engaged. It feels just too much like everyone else is a ghost. And for me, I think that holds back a lot of really great, could be, you know, extended firefights you could have with one or another faction. Either way, I need to play more Squad. I need to improve at it. It's a wicked fun game, and I think that, you know, they're already pushing for updates, new environments. You know, they're still working on vehicles, adding new weapons and equipment. It's just, Squad is a pretty good game right now, possibly, you know, a great one in terms of what it is, this, you know, really team-based, communication-focused experience. But I think give it a couple months, a year, and as we push further into development, it's going to become a phenomenal experience. One that, you know, can rival... actually, no. I mean, there's not much like in the same category, but I'd like to see it fit alongside of Arma in terms of more realistic, you know, team-focused shooters. I'm not saying that they're both pushing for the same level of realism, but I think it very much deserves to have a place alongside of a game like Arma. So enough with Squad. Let's move forward, and I want to talk a little bit about a game called Strafe, a little game that had a Kickstarter last year. You guys may or may not remember it. It's a sort of retro. Modern, you know, it's a modern retro-themed first-person shooter. You know, very much like, you know, 1996 style shooter. A lot of the games that we saw in that time period. And I kind of thought about it just the other day because I saw a post from one of the developers, and I was like, dude, I forgot about this game in the Kickstarter. And then I realized there was a demo. I was like, oh, there's a demo. It's got one level, 3 different weapons. You can basically speed run it. And I was like, man, I have to play this. I've been dying to play this game. So the demo's free. I'll have it linked down in the description below. Please check it out for yourself. To me, it's the perfect little game if you're kind of looking for something that isn't Doom to hold you over until the launch of Doom, because it's, you know, it's kind of in the same genre. They're doing procedural level design in the full game, procedural gore, a ton of different weapons. They're gonna have this sort of roguelike upgrade system as you progress through the levels, and it's just wicked cool. Like, I had a lot of fun with it, even though I died, and I still haven't actually completed one full run of the level. But just a lot of fun, and it's free. So I really can't recommend it enough. The game doesn't plan for its release until 2017, so they're still doing a lot of stuff with the development, but wicked cool game and well worth checking out. I felt like I'd be, you know, I'd be harming you guys if I didn't mention it, so please give it a whirl. More games news. That's kind of going to be the rest of this discussion. We got a lot of other random games news that I felt was worth addressing. Tiny thought, Mass Effect has been delayed till 2017. So Andromeda was supposed to come out the end of this year, but it seems that it's been pushed to 2017 first quarter. Delay it now, man. Delay it while you can, BioWare. Delay it earlier rather than late. That way you don't have to be forced to release a game that isn't finished, or you don't have to be forced to delay something so close to launch, which, as we've seen with Uncharted, can definitely bring some backlash from the community who is really just wanting to play your game. You know, we know very little about Andromeda other than open world, you know, same universe, but different game from Shepard's. I just want to know more at this point. It's cool that they're keeping so much under wraps. I've always liked that BioWare isn't too keen on just spoiling things left and right. So I'm excited to know more about Andromeda. Hopefully later this year we'll finally get to see some actual gameplay and some stuff from it. Unfortunately, Inquisition had to be leaked footage before we finally saw it. So hopefully it's not the same case and BioWare understands when is the right time to show off some of the game. I'm all for developers not, you know, unnecessarily teasing the game. And I feel that's something BioWare's always been good at. So I'm sure they'll make the right decision at the end of the day. Now, I wanted to talk about this whole sort of hassle that's throwing down right now as we currently speak. As I'm recording this, it's active. So I've kind of been just listening to it, making sure I'm catching up on all the changes. Regarding Microsoft's announcement of their UWP. Now, essentially, their UWP is a sort of development ecosystem that they're making a push for in Windows 10. I'm trying to remember what it stands for. Universal Windows Platform is what it stands for. Now, when they initially, you know, kind of started releasing it, they didn't actually put it out. So Tim Sweeney then was like, whoa, let's see what this is doing here. And, you know, there's a whole big article, and I'll have all of the sources linked down in the description below, guys. Please check them out. Read the full thing to get the full story, but let me fill you in as much as I can. The way Tim Sweeney looked at it was, okay, Microsoft is essentially trying to, with this format, you know, they could possibly be looking to monopolize the games market. You know, creating a locked down UWP ecosystem that will restrict a lot of the freedoms, the ability to install different things. There was a lot of things that he saw as negatives that were, boom, they flashed up as negatives, and he did the right thing by calling them out on this. You know, I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments already, oh, what does he think he is? He's just upset they sold off Gears of War, blah, blah, blah. No. Tim Sweeney is a very technical man. I mean, this is a dude who is building game engines in his basement. And when he sees something that causes a red flag, a cause for concern, he's going to speak out against it. And I don't care if he didn't have all the facts, because what he did then was force a reply that we may not have seen from Microsoft. And also, this is Epic Games, man. One of the biggest partners with Microsoft. If if the head of their company throws up a red flag at you, if you were considering doing something a little bit shady with this system, I'm sure that that's going to be a big incentive to change your ways. So quickly after Sweeney, posted and started to talk about this, Microsoft right away came out and said, okay, let's clarify this. UWP is a fully open ecosystem. We want to make it available to every single developer that can be supported by any store to continue to make improvements. They're going to update it so people can easily sideload apps by default with no UX required. This was one of the things that he was worried about, is that this option to sideload was disabled. This is something that Android does. So in order to install third-party apps, they sort of hide the switch you need to turn on. And this is what Sweeney was concerned about. And again, if you look at it right now, it's a hidden switch. They want to make sure it's, easy, it's open. Basically, there's a lot of positives with UWP. It's a more powerful platform. It's going to make it easier to integrate code and all this stuff. It's something we definitely want. But if they were going to do it in a closed manner, if they were going to do it in a way to try and monopolize, games essentially on Windows, that's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous. So this whole thing of open platform, this, directly from Microsoft, is very good to hear. Hopefully this isn't something they're BSing is about just to kind of, push the tide of the lashback away from it. But if that's the case, UWP can be really positive and have a lot of benefits to everyone involved. Game developers, the consumers. We just have to make sure that they continue to make a push for an open system. It cannot have restrictions, because then it ends up being too much like a console on PC, which is no bueno. You know, you want developers to be able to push their updates when they want to push them. They can't have all these weird restrictions and, you know, sort of firewalls they have to go through. So it was a bit of a ruckus. I'm glad Tim Sweeney spoke out about it. I 100% agree with him, you know, calling out those shots. And I'm glad to see Microsoft responding in such a positive way. They're in a good position right now. They really are. They've got one of the best Xbox heads they've had in a very long time. Phil Spencer is outstanding. He just understands games, and he is so positive. Like, you can't deny that when you hear him talk. He knows what to say, when to say it, and he's made a lot of big changes to make sure that at the end of the day, they're doing what needs to be done to make the consumer happy. And everything that I've experienced inside of the Xbox One preview program for the dashboard, it's just changed week in and week out. They're adding improvements and upgrades. They never stop making it better, faster than they've ever done with any of the old Xbox 360 dashboard systems. I love seeing that. I want that to be the same thing with PC. We don't need another games for Windows. We need them to show, hey, we're launching our initiative. You know, this is something they're talking about. Quantum Break right alongside of the Xbox One release on PC. Forza 6 Apex, a free-to-play version of Forza. Something they announced that's going to be coming this spring. Like, a positive start, right? You've got some good content. It's one very sought-after game and one franchise that has already proven itself as one of the best racing sims around. They're in a good place. Let's keep the momentum. Let's keep climbing. Stay positive. Let's keep improving Microsoft and their games on PC and make sure that they can improve anyone who becomes involved with them. Like I said, not like games for Windows, where it was basically a poison that spread throughout the PC market. So I'm still have my concerns, but like I said, good to see Microsoft addressing it and you know, making that push for this is an open ecosystem. Again, guys, I'll have both those articles linked down in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself. Definitely something worth doing research on. This is the kind of thing, right? You know, if you sit around, you know, you're all like PC Master Race, but you're not keeping yourself up to date on this sort of thing, you're not really PC Master Race. you gotta have the information and the intel to defend the so-called Master Race. And if you don't have that and you can't know what's going on, and something like this can drop right under your nose, then you get another games for Windows situation. You know, we can't have that. So keep yourself updated, do the research, and stay informed, PC Master Race people out there. Better yet, just play games on whatever platform you want. Be happy about it. So let's move forward. Enough of that. I wanted to talk about the HTC Vive because a couple, you know, we've known the price of the Vive now for several weeks, but I just haven't had the opportunity to actually sit down and talk about it. We knew it was $800, so $200 more than the Rift, but it comes with its motion controllers and everything. Something that was delayed for Oculus. You know, their Oculus Touch isn't going to be out until we don't really know when. They don't have a date yet. They don't want to set a date. So I think that's a perfectly reasonable price point, you know. To me, it's not like it's actually more expensive than the Rift. It's just coming with more than the Rift, so it has a higher price point. Now, there's so many people, right, just continuing to have this sort of negative outlook on it. No one will buy into it. It's too expensive. And I talked about this with the price point of the Rift and how I said there's no doubt that the majority of the people in the world are blue collar or, you know, below that. Let's stick with the United States now and like Europe and stuff now. You know, we're not going to get into the idea of third world countries. I'm talking about the people who would be interested in this sort of item, right? The normal market. Yes, there's no doubt the majority is the middle class. But guess what? Even the middle class is buying this sort of thing. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who can afford something like this in the blink of an eye. You know, just because someone's successful and they have a lot of money doesn't mean they're not a normal person. Doesn't mean they're not a nerd. They're not into video games and this sort of thing. And this was a great sort of point to back that up. The fact that in the first 10 minutes alone, the Vive sold 15,000 units at $800. And that's just the first 10 minutes. I haven't really looked and seen where it is now, but I imagine it's much further along than that. People are more than willing to support this technology. Really, I've said this so many times before, there is no, people are like, the price point and the requirements of the PC. No. None of that actually matters. All that matters at the end of the day for early adopters and future adopters is whether or not it's a good product. That's all that matters with anything at the end of the day. You can pretty much sell anything at any price point if it's a great product that justifies the price point. So yeah, I'm happy to see them doing that. You know, John Tron has been someone who's also very pro VR, like myself. I haven't even played it. I'm so ready to support it. Like I really just am. You know, I'm ready for it to have its chance, to have its opportunity, to show us what it can do. It deserves that. The technology deserves that. But he made a really good reference again about, you know, looking at an old price point and inflation to prove the cost of something as high tech as this now today compared to something back then. When cell phones launched, you know, when the original cell phone came out, it was like $900 in that time period's money. Now, if you translate that through inflation, through how much that would have costed today, it was about $9,000. So again, when just consistently compared through the time, through the generations, VR is probably one of the most affordable pieces of advanced technology that we've seen, at least for its first iteration. There's no doubt that it's going to get better, it's going to get more affordable as time goes on, and people are willing to adopt it. So if you're one of those people sitting out there saying it'll never catch on, don't worry, other people are going to test it out for you, other people are going to help it catch on, and then when you finally realize, or hopefully when we can all finally realize that it is a successful product, I'm not going to claim that it is already, you know, we'll all be able to hop on for an even more affordable price. Now, I guess the big discussion for a lot of people is going to be that comparison. Which do I pick up? I know some of you guys were already talking about the Rift. I know some of you mentioned both, actually. But have you changed your mind? Are you picking up one or the other? What are your reasons? You know, to me, the Oculus seems like it's got a stronger element of games going for it. I'm pretty stoked about Valkyrie. I mean, not that there aren't already a lot of games out there supporting, you know, VR in some format or another. And as we're getting closer to the launch of both of these headsets, we're seeing a whole slew of developers starting to put out demos and announcing projects in VR. You know, you got Highwire Games, ex-Bungie people, Marty the Elder over there with their Golem game. Like, a lot of really cool stuff going down. So I think it's going to be a very hard decision at the end of the day. They're both very similar in terms of power, but there's no doubt that there will be differences when people actually strap it on. So I'm really excited to see this battle go down behind all of these different VR headsets. I would say that the Vive and the Rift are definitely at the forefront of that battle, and I really want to see what happens. Who wins the fight, or if it's a stalemate, or what happens when the time finally comes. But definitely share your thoughts down in the comments section below, guys. That is it. That's it for me. Happy Friday, happy weekend. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm really excited next week to jump into the Division. Although Monday, I will most likely be putting up a video. It won't be Division ready, but I've got a lot of other of those cool passion videos brewing in my brain. And I think I'm going to throw one out Monday. And then spend the rest of the day doing some relaxing, probably take a nap, wake up, Division ready to go. It's going to be fun. For those of you guys who watch my streams on Wednesdays, I apologize I wasn't there this week. It was just... ended up having to do some work at home, just last minute problems and pop-ups after work. But gonna be getting back to streaming, and the Division, of course, is gonna be at the forefront of that. We're gonna be streaming the Division every Wednesday now for our Wednesday stream. Something I'm very, very excited about. Probably solo Dark Zone goodness. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But that's it for me, guys. If you have anything you'd like to share about any of the stuff we talked about in today's vlogs, throw it down in the comment section below. Have a great weekend, play some great games, hang out with some super cool people, and I'll see you in the next one.